Hello, everyone. Welcome to another seminar that I'm putting together. It's finding happiness in real estate. I know it's a very broad subject, what is happiness, but the more of the question is, what is happiness to you? So there are ways to look for happiness in our lives, and some of us are attached to material things, or which is fine. There's nothing wrong with that. Rewarding yourself with material purchasing or food or something tangible. But the only issue that you run into a lot of the times, those things are temporary happiness, or what I call um, something that will go away in a very short period of time. I'll give you an example. If you wanted to reward yourself or wanted to buy a car, and you bought let's say a Tesla, and this is your dream car, right? How long after you bought the car does it feel like still a dream car? At some point within like maybe 2 weeks, 1 month, 6 months, when your kids decided to make a mess out of it or throw up in the car. At that point, basically, yes, it's a dream car, but it's a dream car that became more of a stress scenario for you, mainly because now you have to maintain that dream that you have, that it would be clean. But if you have kids like me, good luck. It doesn't work very well. So material happiness is something good to have in a very short period of time, but it's not something that it's something that's sustainable in the long term. And some people do try to do that and sustain it in the long term, and they end up doing something like what the Joneses next door try to, whatever the Joneses next door get, and they get the same thing, and eventually they run out of money, or they go broke, or they cannot pay their bills. They stress themselves out working, trying to make as much as they can just to maintain the particular material things that they have around them. So I've tried myself finding happiness through material things. It doesn't work. So what is happiness to you is the question that you need to ask yourself, because the other proportion of it is relationships. You can find the best relationships in the world, or make use of the relationships that you currently have and find happiness there. But finding happiness through others is not always the best thing, mainly because other people have their own standard of what you should be. And trying to fill that role of what you should be to other people may be quite difficult, because at the end of the day, there's some people that want you to be a certain way, and others want you to be a different way, and you're getting pulled left and right, trying to be somebody to everybody. In reality, you only have to be somebody to yourself. You're only accountable really to the actions that you do based on the results that you produce to yourself. And self-accountability is the most difficult thing that we have in real estate today. If you're looking at real estate and you're looking at how successful people become successful, it's not by not being accountable to their actions. That's one of the qualities that successful people have out there, is the whole idea that when you make a mistake, you hold yourself accountable to it. Why would you do such a thing? Because the idea there is, if others follow the same rule that follow you, then you won't have to go through the whole process of a blame game, or try to figure out who made mistakes where, because people are not admitting their mistakes, and you have to kind of spend all your time trying to figure out how the mistakes happen and how it can be preventable in the future, because nobody's admitting it. So accountability to yourself is the number one thing. And another thing for the whole idea of relationships, if you want to have the best, happiest relationships in the world, try to be with people that accept you as who you are, as with your faults, with your mistakes, with your the whole idea that you'll never be perfect, the whole idea that you do try your best to maintain that relationship, but they're okay with that because they accept you the way you are. It's similar to what we call unconditional love. When you have unconditional love, then what you have is happiness within you, because you're not expecting any more from anything else, and expectation breeds disappointment. So without any expectation, your possibility of being happy is much greater. So The next one that we're going to talk about is experiences in your life experience. Some people actually find happiness through the experiences that they have through vacations and then things that they try to do, but even vacations are temporary. Vacations or going, doing your hobbies or doing all those other things that you think that makes you happy, but all that stuff is actually limited and artificial. The true happiness, like I said, is coming from the idea that you're looking at the world from within. I've always talked to my wife about this, the whole idea of, when you're looking at the world from inside going out, you create your world. When you're looking at the world from outside and having everybody input what your world should be and bringing it within, it's what I call a headache. That's what you're getting. You're getting a headache. One of the reasons why you're getting a headache is because you don't control your life. Managing your life, controlling your life, having a direction the way you want your life to be is where you find happiness the most. So experiences in life helps, but it does not necessarily make a person happy based on the fact that how that experience occurred, where it's actually coming from the outside influences coming within or from inside you creating that experience. So being able to be intentional is one of the most important aspects of life experiences that you can ever have. Regrets come from the idea that you don't do the things that you should have done at the time that you could have done it, mainly because there's other factors that fall into place, people giving you certain influences, certain input that you think at that moment in time is the way to go, but deep inside, you know what the right thing to do. So finding happiness in this business of real estate requires you to have your moral compass in check, which means basically that moral compass was created by you through your life experiences and working your way through the process of being able to apply it to the clients that you're working with. So just keep that in mind when you're working with your clients, that your moral compass has to be in line with yourself. Okay, not any other people's standard, but your standard that you created yourself. Accomplishment. Some people find happiness in accomplishment. It's great. I've gone through that same process. I accomplished so many things in my life. I had a whole bucket list of things that I wanted to do. I wanted to skydive. I wanted to jump off a bridge on a bungee jump. Done that. Go scuba diving. Wrote a song. I'm actually on iTunes if you guys want to look it up at some point. I compose songs. I write poetry. I've done so many things out there, but it didn't fulfill me, mainly because the accomplishment is only, again, a small portion of what really makes you happy. It's that small moment that you're going to find happiness, and then it goes back to where you started with. It's like going into a hill. You go up and down, up and down. When you're driving, sometimes, you don't even feel it, but you're so excited what's on the other side of the hill. Well, you come back, you get to the top of the hill. It's just another road, right? So that's basically what you're looking at when you're seeing some of these things. Rewards, like I said, some of the things we make milestones and you create rewards. That's great. You create that temporary happiness, happy hours, something like this, with groups of people that you work with, and you accomplish something, you celebrate. That's perfectly fine. Reward yourself with things like I told you earlier. That's perfectly fine. Only thing is, keep in mind, again, it's temporary. Leaving a legacy. Some people have done everything in their lives and they want others to be able to benefit from their experiences. Something like what I'm doing right now. It's really getting me excited about sharing with you my experiences in real estate, my experiences and how it applies to real estate. And this is basically an exciting time for me that I'm able to share with you. This is, for me, I look at this as leaving a legacy of being able to inspire, being able to help others, being able to make things better for other agents out there, help other agents produce, coach people, mentor people. Those kind of things I really enjoy. But is it actually a permanent happiness? Absolutely not. If you're looking at all of these things that I just mentioned, and you're looking at a person like a Robin Williams, who actually happened to unfortunately passed away several years ago, and he committed suicide. He had everything. He had wealth, he had family, he had success on every single level you can imagine, right? But what's missing? Is what's missing all of the above? Well, he accomplished all of the above, everything that we've actually done: material happiness, relationship happiness, experience having life, accomplishment, reward, leaving a legacy, all these things he experienced, right? But what's missing? What's missing is happiness is truly not an all of these above. These are just artificial facades that you see, that you think that you're really happy. What really where it comes from is the state of being, the whole understanding that you are right here, right now. Whatever happened in the past happened already. What's happening in the future, you cannot predict. When you start looking at what your reality looks like in the present, and you're looking at it from what kind of transactions are you doing, what kind of prospecting are you doing, what are you doing now to improve your life, right? But being on the present is what it's all about. And happiness comes from the thought process of being in the present. So what I just mentioned, none of the above is an option here. Well, yes, it's actually the best option, to be honest with you, because you should be happy whether you have material things or not. You should be happy whether your relationship or not, or whatever relationship you have. Happiness comes from within, and I'm pretty sure you've heard this cliche, but more importantly, happiness comes from two factors. One is being able to understand who you are and accepting the way you are. And two is being able to accept others the way they are, as well as everything around you the way it is, and appreciating the things that you have around you. So this is basically where everything flows from, your definition of happiness. And like I said, all of us will have our own way. You could be very happy because you're top producer, but then in reality, I've been there. I've actually gotten like so many transactions in 2005. I mean, 92 transactions, crazy numbers. I mean, crazy experience. Never had that kind of income in my whole life, but I wasn't happy. So we'll go through the process here and understanding a little bit more to be able to appreciate what you have and appreciate what you're able to do today. So there's this thing called Maslow's hierarchy of needs. I'm pretty sure some of you guys have studied this in high school or college or in places that you'll never. This is a very basic understanding of human needs. And if you attain all this, the whole idea there is you'll be happy. Well, if you're really looking at it from what are the needs look like, you're looking at the basic needs, which is food, water, rest, warmth, which is basically, place to stay kind of thing, food, shelter, clothing, right? The basic needs. And then it comes also a certain security that the fact that you're safe. So this is like the basic needs to meet in order for you to actually find a certain happiness. But it's very basic. And hence the reason why some people, if they're focusing on the basic needs and they have them and they can find themselves accepting where they are or accepting the fact that they have these things and appreciating these things, right? The appreciation that makes a big difference. Then just on the basic needs, you'll find yourself already happy. Then you have the psychological needs, the belongingness and love from others, the belongingness and love for yourself, self-esteem, prestige, feeling of accomplishment. All these other things are in more in the psychological sense of it. Well, it's necessary for all of us, and I'm sure all of us have experienced a certain amount of psychological needs met through our relationships with our family, to our relationships with our spouses, and through the people that we interact with on a daily basis, the people that, especially, the people that you work with in the real estate business. So what you're going to find is you're going to have these psychological needs met, but it's not where the whole happiness lies, right? It's there, and you have the self-fulfillment, achieving one's full potential, like being able to actually create the things that you want to create for yourself activities that you're in control of, right? But it's the fulfillment part is what's missing in a lot of us. It's the whole idea that not only that we accept things that we have. So if you're not producing right now, or you're producing less than you were producing the year before, right? If you can maintain your positive mindset and you can maintain a certain amount of happiness within you, none of this will affect you. You could run into a situation where it's so bad, but you manage to still find happiness within everything else that's happening. So one of the things that I have on my mission statement is when I wake up every morning, that I would actually be positive no matter what trials, issues, problems that I run into. And that's necessary in our business, especially because there's going to be times when your clients test you, that they're not loyal to you. They treat you like a commodity, like a piece of furniture. And you're sitting there like, okay, how do I deal with this person? Well, exactly what I'm saying. If you know how to find happiness in our business, is to understand yourself and understand the fact that you choose to make other people affect you in terms of how you're going to be happy in your life. You choose. That's a choice. It's not something that, oh, it's because my client is this, that's why I'm so unhappy today. Well, guess what? That's your choice to be unhappy. Don't blame the client. The client will do whatever they're going to do. Okay? The client will leave you. The client will be disloyal to you. The client, can make you happy as well. But the point I'm trying to make to you is it's irrelevant what others do. It's how you react to those people and understanding that those people are going to be that way and but it's okay. It's accepting that, okay, it's okay my client's going to be disloyal. Guess what? I'm not going to spend as much time as I would normally with them if they're not going to be loyal to me. Or if they started working with another agent, that's fine. I'll still send them invitation to my events or whatever. Guess why? Because one day that same person will realize what they've done. And I've had that situation where a client actually worked with somebody else. And later on down the line, they called me up. The first thing that came out of their mouth, hey, I'm sorry that I did that. Let me give you a listing that I'm trying to sell the property, or I'm trying to rent out. Actually, I was trying to rent out the property. So I've had that situation happen to me before. So I know that by being open and accepting the way people are, but it's always your choice to let them affect you, or you can ignore them. Ignore the way they treat you. And in the end, basically everything works out. So just keep that in mind when you're working with your clients.